Hi everyone, Mike here. This is a much longer video than I normally post, but so much interesting stuff happened at the river last night, I didn't want you to miss out. So I've compiled a whole bunch of interesting clips from my Wednesday evening at the river. I got off to a great start. I set up my tripod when I saw this beaver about 50 meters upstream, and he actually got out right in front of where I was set up and started walking up to shore to make a scent pile. You'll see he suddenly notices me standing there and turns a little bit and puts down his mud and sprays his scent and heads back into the river. All of the clips you'll see in this video took place in about a 2-hour stretch of me following the beavers up and down the river on the night of June 22nd. So this first beaver I found, I followed downstream, and he stopped on the shores near the prairie lily. He suddenly seemed concerned and swam away, and that's when I noticed there was another beaver not far away making a scent pile of his own. So I love catching these guys walking on 2 feet. You'll see this beaver actually squeezes under that bar and then makes the scent pile. You'll also see that beaver has a deformity in his tail, probably from a battle somewhere along the way. Most of the early clips in this video took place near the Prairie Lily Dock in Saskatoon. That location is actually the intersection between the territories of two beaver families. And this past week, they've been very busy marking their territories with their scent. I think it's because 2-year-olds will soon be dispersing to find their own territories. So the adults are making a point of clearly marking that they inhabit the river. After sniffing around a bit, that beaver grabbed a little wet mud and put it on top of the existing scent pile and added his or her scent before moving on. A few minutes later, I noticed this beaver a little ways upstream, so I rushed into position and got my camera ready to record. It looked like the beaver was scooping mud, which is a good indication he or she is about to walk out of the river on 2 feet to mark their territory, and that's exactly what this beaver did. This beaver went quite a ways up on the shore to make their scent mound. And if you don't find it too gross, you'll notice as she turns, you'll get a really good view of her blasting her scent on the pile. As that beaver swam away, I noticed another beaver further upstream on the rocks, so I hustled over to try to get in position. Just got a short clip here of this beaver as it headed up the rocks looking for yummy plants. A few minutes later, I was in position to get just a short clip again of this beaver as it awkwardly negotiated the rocks. I love seeing them climb around on the rocks with their webbed feet and spiky hands. It's quite an adventure for them. She sat on the rocks with her bum towards me for quite a while, but eventually she started working her way back towards the water, and I was able to get some more rock hopping footage here for you to enjoy. This is just a very short clip. I saw two beavers out of the corner of my eye, and the action took place basically before I could get my camera ready, and those two were off. This clip, nothing particularly interesting happens. I just like there's some green plastic tubing that runs alongside the dock in places at the Prairie Lily. I just love the green reflections in the background as the beavers move around in the water, and that's really the only reason I included this clip. Here's just another one of the adult beavers from one of the families sniffing around, trying to identify which beavers have been in the vicinity. This beaver even stood up and sniffed around at the bar to see if that gave her any clues. That beaver then swam over and came to a stop just underneath the bar and started grooming itself. I bent over as low as I could just to film a few seconds as the beaver groomed, but it wasn't in a very good location to film. When that beaver was done grooming, he or she then did what many of them do, which is grab some wet mud, walk out of the water, and drop it on that rather prominent scent pile and spray their scent before racing back off to do other beaver things. After that, the beavers seem to all have left the prairie lily area, so I followed the beavers upstream and found these two beavers in the water. The bigger one seemed to have some yummy branches, and the little one was just swimming around, seeing if there was any appetite to share. I watched those two beavers for quite a while. You can see all of the leaves have now disappeared from that branch since the previous clip. And satisfied that he or she had eaten all the yummy parts, this adult beaver then continued upstream, and I chose to follow. Further upstream, I was just in time to see this beaver get out on top of the rock and I think maybe spray its scent. Not sure if this is one of the same two beavers because there's a stretch along the river where I kind of lose sight of them. And then later near the University Bridge, I found the adult that had left to go upstream, and just in time to see that adult exploring the rocks. And then that adult swam towards where I was waiting on shore, and I just took a video clip as it came towards me. You can see as it goes under the bridge that the lighting changes and the shadows change, and it makes the color of the water look different. But it's basically just because under the bridge the sun isn't hitting the water. I found the adult beaver had got out of the river a little ways upstream, and I was able to get some quick footage of him or her eating in the greenery. You can see there are a lot of bugs flying around at this time, and I'm wearing several coats of deep woods off to keep the mosquitoes off. While I was watching the beaver in the greenery, I noticed this one coming across the rocks. It's quite a ways upstream from where I am, but I used my full zoom just to catch this beaver going into the water. I think it was an adult, but from a long distance away, it was hard for me to tell. Back to the beaver in the greenery, I moved around a bit just to get a better view as she or he munched away on her salad for her supper. While I was watching the adult eating in the greenery, I noticed the little one that had been downstream half an hour earlier showed up where we were sitting, and the little one started making his or her way up the rocks, and I just did what I do, is put the camera on record and tried to capture as much of this beaver cuteness as I could. The little one kept moving her way further up the shore and getting closer and closer to me. At this point, I didn't want to move and spook her, so I just stayed where I was. Eventually, she was quite close to me on the grass. I don't think she ever did notice me. She seemed to hurry back to the water when a big dog walked by on the sidewalk, and I think she just smelled the dog because she suddenly changed her mind about her comfort level and headed back to the water, which of course I did my best to record for your enjoyment. As the little one got in the water, I realized whatever the little one smelled, the big one smelled too, because it had hustled down into the rocks, just a few meters further downstream. And so I turned on my recorder just as the adult decided that was enough greenery and started swimming further upstream. The big one passed the little one, and I thought the little one was going to follow, but the little one decided to stick around and keep eating amongst the rocks. This clip will just let you enjoy a few seconds of this little beaver munching on some plants and greenery that was lying in the water next to the shore. I then headed further upstream, hoping to catch up with the larger beavers. I came across these two beavers just sort of down from the stone building that's on Spadina and 24th. I don't know if these were the same beavers that I'd been watching earlier or if these are 2-year-olds, but they seemed to be munching contentedly and together on a very large branch that one of them must have dragged into the water. By this time, it's getting close to dusk, and the light isn't great on the west bank of the river because the setting sun is blocked by trees and buildings. This next short clip, some of you may have seen elsewhere as I have shared it. This beaver gets bit in the bum by her brother, sister, or parent, or whoever it is, and jumps pretty quickly after her bum gets bitten, and I don't blame her. I don't think anyone would like to get bitten on the bum by those sharp beaver incisors. And the video is going to come to a close with just a few seconds of watching the beaver who bit her sibling contentedly enjoying her leaves and branches in peace. For those of you who watched the whole 16 minutes, I hope you enjoyed it. I really thought there was a lot of fascinating beaver behavior that I witnessed last night, and I just couldn't bear not sharing it with you guys. I see so many interesting things. Have a great day.